Let's go. It is time to train. Boom. Right, we've already done one working set on this, so we're moving on to a second working set. 65 for 5, dropping down to 60. See what we can get out of this. Hey. So we're moving on to focusing on the upper pec now. Bit of a cable incline fly. Thinking of driving bicep towards my face to really focus on the upper portion of the pec. Again, we're starting off today's session with chest. I have been, prior to this, starting around rear delts, side delts. However, having had a closer look at the physique lately, I think those two areas have definitely come up quite nicely. And I think the one that's lacking the most for me in terms of upper body is definitely my chest. Chest has always been a bit of an issue over the years, but since 2012, it's actually even worse because I had a big injury. I ruptured 5 centimeters of my chest doing silly bench press. By the way, bench press, overrated massively and a huge risk of injury. Since then, I've never ever again had to do, never did bench press again. It's just not needed with the amount of risk that it brings and for the little gains that you actually get through bench press. There's much better exercises to do. So learn with mistakes, move on, but my chest, especially on the right, has never been the same. And it's also affected movements, shoulder issues because of the weakness on that right side. And so I do think chest is something I want to improve on. So we're going to start the sessions back again with chest and then moving on to rear delts, side delts as a second priority thing, and then moving just to maintenance work with some upper back, some lats, some biceps and triceps towards the end of the session. So I'm going to do a working set on here now. We're pretty much ready to and warmed up. I'm using the cuffs here. I prefer the cuffs when it comes to this exercise. It just feels a lot more comfortable instead of holding it on my hand. And the goal really, guys, is just biceps to face. Happy with that. And just look at that sunrise. Stunning. To side laterals, this Bravo machine is incredible because this is a great addition to any machine where it gives you the stability. Really, really important. So with this movement, again, we're going to use the cuffs. I'm a big fan of the cuffs. Again, purely because it takes the fact that you're grabbing onto something, and that I think sometimes takes away from the focus on the muscle itself. Now, that might just be me and how I feel about it. I don't think there's any science behind that, or at least not that I'm aware of. But I'm a big fan of cuffs for that particular reason. Obviously, the cuffs allow you to also move where you're placing the load, meaning you can either make the movement arm bigger or shorter. Again, if you've got injuries, it can be great addition. So for example, if you've got an injury through your elbow or you can't grip something, using cuffs can be fantastic for that. And also, let's say, for example, you want less torque on the joint, you want to shorten the movement arm, you can do that as well. So if you've got injuries, it's a fantastic tool to use to work with. So what we want to do on here is single arm. So from this position here, this allows me to brace really well against it because obviously the load's pushing me in that direction. And because I've got this, I'm stable, much, much better. Now from here now, I want to think about going out towards you. keeping this cable in line with my armpit and in line with my arm. And I want to think about dragging my knuckles on the floor when I'm doing that. Again, one more. 6.5. Straight to the other side. Happy with that. So we'll rest now. 3 minutes rest, always in between sets. That was 20 for 6. We're going to do 2 working sets on there. And you see now when I log my workouts here on rep count, 3-minute rest counting down there. I always log my workouts. If you're not logging your workouts, how do you know how to progress in your sessions? You don't know. So if you're just going in and training, you're going by feel, nothing wrong with that if that's how you feel. For me, I like to know, okay, what have I done prior? And I want to try and improve on that. And that's what we call progressive overload. My goal is to either improve on reps or improve on weight. And I always try and aim anything between 4 and 8 reps. So for example, I got 6 reps on that. Now that means really, ideally I want to get 8. I didn't, got 6. Next time I come and do this exercise, my goal is to get 7. That's progressive overload. Now on a drop down set, if I'd got 8, for example, I would stay on the same weight. But because I've only got 6, I'm actually going to drop the weight to 15, aiming to get, again, between 4 and 8 reps. So progressive overload is key, but it's really important that you log it, so you know. If you don't know, how can you improve? There's also another thought process with progressive overload of adding more volume instead of, for example, adding more weight or adding more reps. And adding more volume would mean adding another set, for example. Personally, over the years, I haven't seen any benefit of adding more volume. More volume has just created more fatigue over the weeks, which then leads me to a burnout, leads me to having to have time off the gym to then kind of recover back to my normality so that I can start progressing again. So I'm not a big fan of adding sets to it. I normally stay between 1 and 2 working sets. Again, over the years, I've done 3, 4, 5 working sets, but I now stay around the areas that I'm working on. It's typically 2 working sets, and the maintenance areas is typically just 1 working set to failure or near failure. And that has been the thing that's really helped me in the last 5 to 6 years in terms of building and maintaining muscle. And also with clients as well. Clients from beginners to intermediate to advanced, I feel that adding more volume through sets hasn't really worked well and creates a lot of damage. Now rear delt fly. Again, using the cuff on this, I'm a big fan of that. Rear delt, cable cuff, rear delt fly. So a similar approach, but what we're going to do is bring this slightly higher. We're going to be standing as well. And then from here, bringing this slightly lower. And then all we're going to do is both arms this time round. And then from here, going out and back. Pause there, out and back. So a very good exercise there for rear delt as well. I'm always a big fan. I always feel that I get much more out of my rear delts when I come from top to bottom instead of coming from horizontal. That will work too, but I feel like when I'm here horizontal wise, I'm getting a lot more mid traps involved. Whereas when I'm coming from the top, I feel like my rear delts are doing a lot more work than the upper back stuff, the mid traps, lower traps, because obviously lower traps can get involved as you're coming from the top down. But the goal for me is I'm not thinking back, I'm actually thinking about going out in a circle instead of thinking just coming back this way like a row. I want to think about going in that direction, so kind of creating a circle around. So thinking of pushing out and out is where I feel really the rear delts start to kick in. So on here before we did 25 for 5. So again, back to the progressive overload situation. 25 for 5, the goal would really be to try and get 6. So once the 3 minutes up, we will go for that. We've got about 20 seconds, and then we'll go for our working set here to try and get at least 5. Let's see what we can get out of this. Easy 5 already. Hey, it's nice. Hey, that was good. I'm amazed with that. 25 for 8. Must be because you're watching me and I'm pushing myself a little bit more. So yeah, happy with that. 25 for 8. 3-minute rest. And because I got 8 on that, I'm gonna stick to 25. Next week, we're going up in weight. So that's how I look at progressive overload. Okay, so we've got to move on now. We've got 11 seconds, same weight. See what we'll get out of this. Felt pretty good. I could go up in weight really based on how the first one felt, but I want to be cautious and not push myself to a limit where I'm going to injure myself. So I'll stick with the same weight and see what we can get out of this. One more. Hey, that felt good. Happy with that. Now moving on to maintenance work. We've done the main sets, which was chest, focus, rear delts, side delts. Now maintenance, we're going to start with a single arm focus lat row. One each side. I don't rest in between sets on this one. To the side, straight to the other side, rest 3 minutes, go on to the next exercise. So now I'm going to maintenance work. I've already done the one warm-up set on there. I'm ready to go. So last time on this, we did 145.5 for 6, which is pretty much full stack. So the goal would be to get 7 if we possibly can. Now, typically when it comes to maintenance work, the goal is to at least do what I did the prior week. If I get progressive overload, incredible. If I match it, I'm happy with that, because again, my priority really is the first 3 exercises. I'm now on to my 4th exercising, meaning I'm going to be more fatigued. And so you can't expect to be beating numbers when you're starting to get fatigued, because whether we like it or not, even with rest period of 3 minutes between sets, as the work accumulates over the session, we're going to get fatigued regardless, just the way it goes. So let's try and do this and see what we can get on. Okay. 7 is good. So I've got one more rep on that, which I'm happy with. Straight to the other side. Yes. Woo! Happy with that. One more rep, full stack. We log that and we move on. 3-minute rest. hopefully now you start to understand how important that 3-minute rest is. That was tough. And so there's no way I'll be ready in a minute and a half, no way. And you might be asking yourself now, oh, God, you only do one working set on there, Helder? It's nowhere near enough. And we'll talk about that in other videos. Today's video topic I really want you to take away from this is the rest periods. Really important. And if you've never tried it before, honestly, give it a go. I promise you, you will see your strength going up so much. You're like, whoa, I didn't realize how much fatigue I was leaving in the bag and how much actually potential strength that you've got in you, you are leaving inside the bag because you've not used this approach. So basically, in simple terms is, if you have rest periods that are 1 minute, 30 seconds, even a minute and a half, by the time you get to your next set, you haven't yet recovered from the prior set. You've still got quite a bit of CNS fatigue, which then means you're probably not going to get the reps that you want out of that second set. And obviously, as the session goes along, as you're getting more fatigue because you're accumulating work, that becomes more and more evident. So really, between 2 and 3 minutes, rest period between sets is going to be ideal for you to recover, ready for your subsequent set that's coming up. So this is the reason why I always rest 3 minutes in between sets. So moving up to upper back, again, one working set on here, and I'm using these handles because you see these handles here, they don't rotate that way, and I want to have my hand this way instead of this way to get more upper back movement. And this obviously moves quite well, and I can take this out and out. That's the beauty of these handles, that they move, and then I'm using these so I've got a different grip on it, which I prefer. I prefer more this kind of grip than this kind of grip when it comes to upper back. So I'm taking my elbows away from the body to really focus on that upper back movement. Hey! So on to the final stretch of the session. We've got triceps. We're doing a single arm tricep push down, and then we're doing a single arm dumbbell preacher curl for biceps, and that's the session done and completed. Last time on here we got 35 for 5. See what we can get out of this. Key point on this that I see a lot of people do is, the scapula is something that obviously moves up and down, and if we don't put our scapula down and keep it there, we're going to be bringing our shoulder forward, we're going to be moving ourselves. So really important here, you keep your elbow in the side of your body. Make sure you pop that scapula right into your pocket. Really fix it there. But don't overthink it too much, because otherwise it becomes a bit more about fixing the scapula, not the tricep movement. But don't let it elevate too much, because if you do, you're going to start bringing that shoulder forward and pressing down with the shoulder, and you're going to take it away from the tricep. Especially as it gets heavier, your body's going to want to try and overcompensate. We don't want that to be the case. So let's do it. Six, I'm good with that. Straight to the left arm. Let's go. Another thing you might notice is when you're doing single limb, single arm stuff, single leg stuff, you may feel one side is stronger than the other. Typically, that's going to be the case, and it's very common. I've never seen anyone being exactly the same on both sides. I had more reps on my left, there's no doubt about it. Again, my right side, due to the fact that I injured myself quite badly in 2012 on my chest, everything on my right side just feels a lot more weaker than on my left. So I always start with my weaker side, because, for example, if I'd started with my left side, I would have got easily 8 on that. I wouldn't have been able to do that with my weaker side. And so I would have done more reps on the stronger side, less reps on the weaker side, and that imbalance would get even worse. So I always start with my weakest side if I'm doing single arm stuff or single leg stuff. Exercise, one working set on each side, dumbbell preacher curl. One of my favorite exercises for biceps. With the dumbbell preacher curl, again, starting off with my weaker side, which is my right arm. Really key here to try and align everything. So I almost always move to the, if you're using a bench like I am, I move myself to the left side if I'm doing the right side and really sit my armpit into the bench. So a lot of stability there, and I want to make sure that I'm fully aligned. My wrist, my elbow, and my shoulder on a straight line. All right, got 4 on this last time. Let's see what we got on this today. Come on, one more. Happy with that. That's tough. So bang on 50 minutes there, and going back to the whole point of this video, the rest periods, you know, I did flat cable chest press, 2 working sets, incline fly, 1 working set, single arm side lateral, 2 working sets, rear delts, 2 working sets. We're now on to 4 exercises already. We've got single arm row, 5. We've got upper back, 6. We've got bi, 7, tries, 8. 8 exercises in 50 minutes with 3 rest periods. I know what you're going to say, yeah, but hold it, you only did 2 working sets and 1 working set, hence why. But that's the whole point of it, right? Next video I'll do, I will talk about the working sets itself. And then you can start to put it all together and actually start applying it to yourself. But the first thing I want you to do is next time you go into the gym, just try it. Try this. Do your normal stuff. So go and do your first working set and rest your normal rest periods. Let's say that's a minute. Let's say that's a minute and a half. Go back in and do your second working set. See what you get out of that in terms of reps, in terms of weight. Next time you go in, do the exact same exercise, rest 3 minutes, go for your next exercise, your next set, and see if you improve in terms of weight or rep on that second set. And then come back to me and let me know. I bet you'll be massively surprised. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.